So today I took my last final exam for the spring semester. That means I don't have school again until September 1st. And that's about 100 days away. So what should I do for the next 4 months? My mom thinks I should get an internship or a job. I said f that. My name is Dookie Betts, and for the last year and a half I've been making poker vlogs and posting them on YouTube. What started as a joke playing 10 cent, 25 cent with my friends quickly gained quite a bit of traction on YouTube, and we've amassed over 6,000 followers in about a year. I've always loved playing poker, but because of the time commitment with school and whatnot, I've never been able to put in the amount of volume that I would have liked, but that all changes this summer. We have about 4 months in the summer, a little bit less given that it's May 9th already. I'm going to try and play 400 hours this summer, which comes out to about 100 hours per month. This is a volume challenge first and foremost, so we're going to prioritize playing a lot of live poker. So we're going to set the goal high with 400 hours of live poker. Secondly, we're going to be playing primarily 1-2, 1-3, and 2-5 depending on what's running, what time of day it is, where the games look best, etc., etc. That being said, I'm going to try and win $25 per hour playing in these games. I think that's achievable. We'll see. If my math is correct, we have 400 hours of live poker multiplied by $25 per hour. All of that comes out to $10,000 this summer. So how much money can I make playing poker this summer is the question I'm asking. And the honest answer is I have no clue. I'm kind of trash. But we're going to try our best. We're going to play as often as possible, and we're going to document the entire Bankroll challenge on YouTube. This is the Dookie Betts Bankroll challenge. And without further ado, let's hop into the video and let's turn some sand into gold. I'm not really sure why I filmed half my intro like this, hunched over in my room, closely speaking to my phone, but it's kind of cool. Alright vlog, we're in the beautiful city of Providence, Rhode Island. Today we're going to be playing 1-3 Match the Stack. Pretty good private game, we play here quite a bit. It's always a fun time. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Let's hop into it. Let's play some hands. We hop into session number 1 of the challenge at exactly 7:30 at night. We ate a quick dinner and we're ready to get going, ready to roll the ball in the challenge. First hand of the night comes 14 minutes after our buy-in. It's going to fold all the way around to the button player, who's going to open things up to $15. We peel pocket kings, really beautiful sight here. We come in with the 3-bet out of the small blind. We make it a bit too small here, we go $50. We should probably be more in the ballpark of $60, $65, but in game we size down a little bit just to make sure we get a call when we have pocket kings. He's going to flick in the call and we're going to go heads up out of position to a flop. We get a jack high board. We're just going to c-bet here for $40 and he's pretty quickly going to fold, so we take down this pot at about $50 in profit to the stack. Only $9,950 to go. About half an hour later, we play our next hand of the session. Out of the small blind here once again. We're going to see the hijack player open things up to $15. The button player is going to put in the flat call. We look down at ace-jack offsuit, and because the hijack player has shown propensity to open up far wider than he should be, we decide to 3-bet here to $75, going about 5x. In game, I didn't realize how short the hijack player is. He only has about $145 altogether in his stack, and after not much consideration, he decides to flick it all in. The button player is going to fold, and obviously we're priced in here. We're calling 50 to win about 300. So given the size of our 3-bet, this is a pretty easy call here.
Times, gentlemen.
Whatever you want.
One time, all right, here you go.
You need a what?
I need a 10.
Yes,
You got ace 10? Here comes my deuce. Okay, good.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a 10.
Wait.
Oh, that's a straight.
Big slick.
After giving him the option to go once or twice, he picks once. I flip over my hand ace-jack, and he announces that he needs a 10, meaning he likely has ace-10. Our opponent hits his 10 on the flop, however, His heart is quickly broken with the straight completing card on the turn. We're going to take down this pot, and so far it's been a very good start to the session. About 2 hours goes by. We really haven't played anything. We've been paying straddle, small blind, big blind, plus we've been paying the $5 for every bomb pot once in orbit as well. So in combination between those three things, we've bled down about $100. In this hand, we see the low jack player open things up to $25 over my button straddle. The cutoff player is going to flat, and we decide to defend the button straddle here with queen jack offsuit, so we're going to be able to play in position going 3 ways here. We get a rather nice flop of 10-9-3 rainbow board. We flop open-ended as well as 2 overcards to the board. Low jack player is going to start with a check, cutoff's going to check as well, and I decide to bet just with a load of equity here, 2 overs plus open-ender. We fire out for $40. The low jack's going to get out of the way, and the cutoff player is going to put in the call. So we're going to go heads up to the turn. Turn's an interesting one. We get the jack of hearts. We now have top pair as well as the open-ender still. I now think we have a reasonable amount of showdown value, and it's also going to be fairly difficult to get called by a worse hand if we triple it off here. So for those reasons, when the cutoff player checks it over to us for a second time, we decide to check back and play a little bit of pot control. The river's going to roll off the 6 of spades. This really doesn't change all that much. It's a relative brick. The cutoff's now going to lead for $25, just a very small block bet sizing here. And for this price, it doesn't really feel like we're going to win all that often, but our price is so good that we have to call here. We flick in $25. He shows us king jack. Unfortunately, we do not beat this hand. He chose a nice size on the river here that we were forced to call against. After some consideration and looking back on this hand, I think it would be fairly interesting to turn our hand into a bluff, blocking hands like king queen nicely. But at the same time, against this river bet size, we really don't need to be right all that often in order for it to be a profitable call. Sort of a weird one. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Should I maybe turn this hand into a bluff on the river? Another hour passes us while we wait patiently for a playable hand. In this hand, we have the $6 straddle on, as well as the double straddle to $12. So we're playing 6, 12, no limit hold'em. We peel ace queen offsuit. We open things up to $35, and it's going to fold all the way around to the double straddle, who goes by the name of JP. He flicks in the $35, and we're headed heads up to the flop. JP claims to be my #1 fan and loves to battle against me in this game. He's a good dude and he's a friend of mine, but when we play pots together, it's war. With $80 in the middle, we get a flop of queen 10-6 rainbow board. JP checks it over to us, and we would normally be range betting this board, but in game we decide to check back and give JP plenty of rope to bluff the turn or the river. The turn rolls off the 5 of hearts, bringing in a flush draw. However, we have the ace of hearts, so we have significant removal to some flush draws. We're now going to see JP lead the turn for $65, which on this specific turn card is more than reasonable. We mow over all of our options here. Obviously folding is out of the picture, so that leaves us with raising or calling left on the table. Raising would provide some protection against straight draws like 4-3, 8-7, Jack-9, and King-Jack. Just calling will allow us to continue to set the trap against a slew of airball bluffs, which JP is certainly capable of holding. So after some consideration, we decide to just put in the call and snap call any river. The river rolls off the 9 of clubs, and after some thought, JP fires a second barrel for $150. We turbo snap call, he rolls over 8-7 offsuit, and we lose to a rivered straight. In hindsight, ace queen O here is certainly not a snap call, and the 9 of clubs showing face on the river is one of the worst cards we could have potentially gotten. It completes half of the straight draws that I mentioned earlier, king jack as well as 8-7. Against JP, I'm still not sure if I can get away on the river here because of his spastic image, but at the very least I should think about it for more than half a second. This is 100% a punt on our end. We end up adding on for another $500 here, and we're now stuck about $200 on the session. JP won, Dookie bets 0. After a very clear misstep in that last hand, we get tossed immediately into our next hand of the night. We're playing 1-3 with no straddle on here, and we see JP open under the gun to $10. We peel 7-2 offsuit and find the 3-bet here to $40. And no, I'm not just tilt spazzing it off for no reason here. In this game, if you win a hand with 7 deuce, everyone sitting at the table has to pay you $10 for your efforts. After our 3-bet, we see the hijack player cold call. It's going to fold back over to the under the gun player who who's going to put in the $40 call as well, and we're going to go 3 ways to a flop. Yeah, I'm certainly going to have my work cut out for me here. We get a flop of 8-7-3, and we see the under the gun player start with a check. It's my turn to act now, and I decide on a bet of $60 in attempts to rep overpairs, but in reality all I have is second pair and a dream. We see the hijack player put in the call, and this is followed by an under the gun fold. I think the hijack would raise some of his overpairs as well as sets, so I think it's fairly likely that he has some sort of straight or flush draw. When the turn rolls off the 4 of clubs, we decide to slow down and check because we actually have some sort of showdown value, and I really don't want to triple it off with 7 deuce. Much to our amusement, the hijack player checks back, and this seems very weak to me. We get the queen of spades on the river, and I don't think this is a card that's going to change much. The only real queen x this player can have is a queen x flush draw like king queen or queen jack. When the turn goes check check, I actually think I will have the best hand here a lot. If he decided to cold call pre-flop and just call on the flop with a hand like pocket 9s, pocket 10s, or pocket jacks, he would certainly be betting the turn here. So given this information, we decide to set the price and find an interesting block bet of $30. The hijack immediately flips up his hand. He shows king 9 of hearts and pretty much immediately mucks. Not only do we win the pot, but we also take down an additional $70 in bounties. Looking back on it, I really am not a huge fan of my river bet here. Yes, I'm doing this for value, but I really can't think of a worse hand that's going to call, even when I bet 1/8 pot. For this reason, I think I should check call with my showdown value, or choose a real size and bluff in attempts to make 8x and stuff like that fold the river. I really don't think he had much 8x, so for that reason, probably just gonna check call and bluff catch, I guess. But yeah, really not a big fan of the lead on the river here. Following this hand, we're exactly even on the session. This segments us into our next interesting hand of the night, which takes place at 12:53 in the morning. Like clockwork, we see JP open from hijack to $15 over a $6 straddle. I peel king 10 offsuit in the cutoff and decide to 3-bet to $50. This is a super wide 3-bet and likely ill-advised, but hijack player's been very active tonight, so we decide to get in there with a loose 3-bet. Getting some deja vu from the last hand, we see the button cold call once again, and this invites the hijack player in as well, so we're gonna go 3 ways to a flop here. We see 3 and get a rather nice flop of queen jack 8 rainbow board. Hijack player is gonna start with a check, and it's over to me. Betting our equity certainly seems fine here, but with the button player behind us left to act, I decide to check it over to him when we're monkey in the middle here. Dave on the button is going to check behind, so we get to see a turn card for absolutely no charge. The turn rolls off the 4 of hearts, which presents some flush draws. The hijack is now going to find the lead for $65, going about 1/3 pot. With 6 clean outs to a straight and then 2 not so clean outs, I think we have a fairly straightforward call here. We flick in the money and the button is going to fold behind, so we're going heads up to the river with about 290 in the middle. The river rolls off the ace of hearts, we improve to Broadway. JP enters the tank for ages and eventually fires for $325 over betting the pot. Having the king of hearts in our hand here is really nice, especially when he chooses this overbet size on the river. He's going to be choosing this polar size here when he's repping hands like flushes, straights, or potentially a bluff as well. Given the strength of our hand as well as our nut flush blocker, I think folding is certainly out of the question. This leaves us with raise or call. Mentioned earlier when he is choosing this very polar size on the river here, I don't really think there's much value to be gotten from worse hands. For example, I don't think he would ever be betting a set or a 2 pair for this size. For what it's worth, he also can't really have aces, queens, or jacks because those hands would be slam dunk 4-bets when the button cold calls. So for all these reasons, I decide that raising is also out of the question here, just because I think we're either going to lose to a flush or beat some sort of bluff. Because of my king of hearts blocker, he really can't have the nut flush either, which would be one of the most obvious hands that would choose this very large overbet on the river. So for that reason, I think our hand fits super nicely into the just call category, so we put in the money.
Sick. Nice man.
JP rolls over 10-9 of spades, and we cool him off after he flops the nuts here. Dookie bets 1. JP won. About half an hour later, we play the deciding match in our best of 3 series versus our #1 fam. JP limps from the cutoff for $6, We peel 3 deuce of hearts and check our option on the button straddle. We go to a flop heads up of king queen 6, 2-tone board with 2 hearts. We flop the flush draw. Cutoff's gonna lead for $10 here, and we pretty quickly flick in the call. The turn rolls off the 4 of spades, and he now slows down and checks. In this configuration, ranges are gonna be super wide here, and we have about 12 outs to improve our hand. For this reason, we choose an overbet of $65. This will fold out all of his trash that is currently ahead of us, as well as build the pot for when we do hit our outs on the river. Cutoff hits the tank for quite some time and then eventually flicks in the call. River comes the 4 of hearts and we improve to a flush. JP checks for a 3rd time, and we decide to go massive here with a big value bet of $175. JP virtually snap calls, and yeah, watch this reaction.
Yeah.
Flush.
You're so good. This is sick, dude. Nice hand. Jesus Christ.
He called here with what he later told me was King X. I don't blame him at all, my line really doesn't make much sense, and I'm certainly capable of having bluffs in these spots. Nevertheless, we win the rubber match against JP and end the series, Dookie bets 2, JP 1. Following this hand, we played until about 4 in the morning, but I didn't really play any interesting hands for the rest of the night. We continued to claw and scratch in small pots and pretty much redline our stack up a fair amount from this point on. That's going to bring us to the present day. Today is currently day 3 of the challenge. It's Sunday, May 11th. In that session you just watched, we were in for $1,000. We were out for $1,820, so we racked up a nice little profit of $820 in about 8.5 hours of work. That brings our totals for this challenge to this, and I'm really glad that we could get this challenge off on the right foot. This entire video series is likely going to be a shitload of work. We're going to try and play for 20 to 25 hours per week and do about the same in terms of editing, so all in all I'm going to be working 40-50 hour weeks on this thing, which I'm happy to do. It's pretty much going to be my job this entire summer, so I might as well work hard at it. But that being said, I'm really just pouring my heart and my soul into this YouTube thing this summer. So if you guys could do me a favor and go drop a like and a subscribe if you're new, if you enjoyed the vlogs, I really appreciate that. Helps me out a ton. We're trying to take the channel to new heights this summer, and I can only really do that with the help from you guys. If you don't mind, take a second out of your day and go hit that subscribe button down below. I'm gonna try and upload these videos twice a week, hopefully Sunday and Thursday, or right around then. If I play sessions where I can't film at a specific location, I'm going to do Instagram updates, so if you guys haven't already followed me on Instagram, go check that out as well. I'll leave a link down below. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, I'm Dookie Bets.